Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Simply Lili podcast. I'm Lily, your host, and this episode is a public service announcement for women over 50 because there's something that happens after age. You're buying into things, um, and honestly, I think it's one of the most freeing things about getting older. At some point, your spirit gets tired. Not in a hopeless way, more like you finally realize how much energy you wasted trying to fit into expectations that never even felt natural to you in the first place. And then suddenly you wake up one day thinking, you know what? I'm actually not even going to do this anymore. I'm not arguing unnecessarily. I'm not explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. I'm not chasing validation. I'm not forcing fake friendships. You following me? The list? I'm not attending things that I don't even want to go to. And I've done it so many times where, I'm so excited and I'm like, yeah, let's do this, let's do this. But I knew deep down inside that I really did not want to go. But let me just go. Let me just go do something to go out and just get out of the house. But deep down inside, that little voice was telling me, girl, you know you don't even want to go. And I would cancel last minute. But I've learned, or I've been putting into practice, where if I don't want to go, I'm going to say, instead of saying yes, let me think about it, but don't hold me to it. And that's where I'm at right now because I don't want to have people relying on me and I'm not going to come through. And I also don't want to just be doing things just to do them and I don't want to do them, if that made any sense. So the other thing is, and I'll tell you something. Listen, I believe younger women think that women over 50 are just so set in their ways. And I've had that. I mean, I've had, my kids tell me, that's because you're old school. And that's because, we don't do it like that anymore. Or it's always something like that. Or girls that are in their 40s, and I know them, they were my kids' friends, and they're just like, oh, you're so old school. No, and it's not even set in our ways. It's just like, those are my beliefs. That's the way I feel. But honestly, I think at this point, women over 50 become clear, and I mean very clear. You realize that time matters, energy matters, peace matters, and your nervous system, baby, your nervous system starts filing complaints, okay? Today, we're talking about the no longer buying in list. If y'all been following me for the last couple minutes, everything I've said has been a list. The expectations, the habits, the emotional performances, the outdated beliefs, the exhausting social rules, the things women are quietly releasing so they can actually enjoy their lives. And this isn't a bitter conversation, y'all. Don't even think that it's going in that way. And this is clearly not a men are bad episode. And this is not women should do this episode. This is a simple, reflective conversation about what happens when women start becoming more intentional. And let's remember, season 3 of the Simply Lili podcast is focused on alignment and intentionality. You see, because honestly, a lot of women are waking up and not in a dramatic way, in a peaceful way, in a wiser way, in a more softer way. And I see a lot in a more honest way. So guess what, y'all? Let's talk. So we are no longer buying into the exhaustion as a personality trait. Can we start here? Because for many years, we're praised for exhaustion. The busier you were, the more valuable you seemed. Here goes my list. Overworked, overextended, everybody's therapist, everybody's emotional support system. I'm guilty. It's like I had my set of friends that were my age, and then I had my much, much older friends. And I do much older friends because I'm 59 and I have friends that are now 70 because My first love was 7 years older than me. So all his friends were my friends, but then we all grew up in the same area. But then I had friends my age and family my age. So I was kind of like the pickle in the middle, but I knew a lot because I just did. I just knew a lot of what was going on. And I was always the one that was asked things. So the other thing is, you're everybody's caretaker. I'm continuing with my list that I created here. Everybody's emergency contact, everybody's ride, everybody's problem solver. And somewhere along the way, women started wearing burnout like a badge of honor. Meanwhile, your body's inflamed. You sleep terrible. You're overstimulated. You're forgetting why you even walk into rooms. Like you're so busy, you go in there and like, oh my God, what was I just gonna do? And I mean, this is how busy our heads were. And I always say, my mind is like a 5-lane highway. And the one lane in the middle is going the wrong way because I just got so much going on in my head. Now, then we say, but why was I doing all that? Why is it that exhaustion was so normalized? And why were women expected to pour endlessly from empty cups? I'm going to tell you something, honestly. A lot of women are no longer buying into the idea that being needed by everybody equals fulfillment. Because I'm going to start with my list again. Sometimes fulfillment is peace. Sometimes fulfillment is saying no. Sometimes fulfillment is staying home. And sometimes fulfillment is protecting your energy. And you know what? That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you aware. So with all that awareness and with that list that they just call, talking about, let's look into that the fact that we are no longer buying into performing the youth because all this comes into play together. Because now let's talk about aging. Because, whoo, girl, society has really done a number on women with this one. Was my list. The pressure to look 25 forever, the pressure to hide aging, the pressure to act younger than you are, the pressure to remain desirable at all times. And listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to look good. Don't forget, though, there goes your list. Please moisturize. Please wear sunscreen. Please enjoy your skincare. It just goes on and on. But there's a difference between caring for yourself and being at war with yourself. And I think many women over 50 are no longer buying into the idea that aging is something shameful. Actually, aging is a privilege. Wisdom is attractive. Peace is attractive. Confidence is attractive. A woman who knows herself is attractive. And let me just share why in this little bunch of lists here, that list. And the way I use attractive was because I work over at the courthouse and out of the courthouse, and I was going in through security, and there was a gentleman. We scan our badge to go in, but there was a gentleman in front of me that had to go through. So I'm just like, all right, I got my bag, I have everything, and I'm just ready to go through. So this guy is just like, he kept beeping, coming back, beeping, coming back. So I says, sir, I says, if you don't mind, I says, how about if I go through and then you could start disrobing shoes, belt, and anything else that this gentleman would like for you to take off so that you can go properly through the scanner. So they started laughing, and I was like, I was just trying to get out of there. So when I get through, the sheriff says to me, now that was attractive. And when I was putting this content together, I really thought about, we often just think attractive is looking pretty, but putting into perspective the way I just, that I way I did, I think it's just wisdom. And I think it's like, wow, it's being fierce. And, honestly, there's something. deeply beautiful about women who stop apologizing for getting older. Because what happens? They become more themselves, more grounded, less performative. And maybe that's why so many women become more magnetic with age because they stop trying so hard. I think, now this is just me. At one point, it was like, I'm talking about the 80s and 90s. It was such a different era, but it was just a, a lot with everything, a lot with the hair, a lot with the makeup, a lot with everything. But now we're in an era where less is more. And for some reason, when we put more of makeup on, or we just, do different things when it comes cosmetically, it's just something where we don't have to try that hard anymore. We know what we have, we know what works for us now. So, with that being said, we are no longer buying into staying silent to keep everybody comfortable either. Because this one right here, this is personal. I think many women have spent decades trying to be agreeable, easygoing, pleasant, non threatening, not too much, not too emotional, not too honest. And after years of swallowing your truth to keep the peace, come on now. Eventually, you realize you were disturbing your own peace in the process. I mean, really think about it. Now, listen, this doesn't mean you're becoming rude. It doesn't mean becoming hard. And it doesn't mean arguing with everybody on Facebook like at 11 o'clock at night because you don't agree with something. I mean, please don't. But it does mean just becoming more honest and more direct, because as I've aged and as I've actually in therapy, I've learned the only way it was going to work is if I was honest. And now sometimes I think I'm a little too honest. And that's not just being honest, that's being blunt. But that's a whole different story. But I'm just saying, it's just the effects, the results are different when when you're more honest. And that's just the way it has to be. Um, when you're honest, you're more direct. You're more comfortable even saying, you know what, that doesn't work for me. I used to say, yeah, I'll go, just let me know when you're gonna go. And then I make the phone call, I make all these arrangements and I commit myself. And then at the end, I knew I didn't want to go. So why did I say I was gonna go? I'm canceling, and I kind of I got the little label as, well, you always say you're gonna go and then you don't go, you end up canceling. But now I just say, I don't know, but let me think about it. And I don't commit, but then I still have that open window that I could think about it and not feel pressured into doing anything. So the other thing, and when I say I'm just talking about what doesn't work for me, we also can agree to disagree. And if you don't agree with something, just say, I don't agree, or I'm not available for that, or just a plain no thank you. And honestly, the level of honesty feels so revolutionary for women, because we were taught that good women keep everybody comfortable, even at their own expense. And after 50, many women are finally realizing peace and self abandonment are not the same thing. So, this is leeway into we are no longer also buying into fake relationships. You know what else changes with age? Your tolerance. I know mine has. Not your kindness, but your tolerance. Because at some point, women stop romanticizing one sided relationships. You know, we stop chasing people, stop begging for consistency, stop over explaining your worth, stop pretending certain friendships feel good when they actually feel draining. And if you really want me to be honest, I think one of the saddest things women realize later in life is how much time they spent tolerating emotionally unavailable people. Because who only called when they needed something, people who constantly create chaos, people who only valued you when you were useful. And eventually, something shifts. You start craving calm, you start craving real conversations and mutual effort, emotional maturity, and honesty. You stop confusing inconsistency with excitement. And thank God for that. Because emotional roller coasters, I think that's what I'm gonna say. Emotional roller coasters, they're exhausting, especially once you finally experience peace. So what? Guess what? I got the scripture for you because this is all gonna tie in. Proverbs 4, verse 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And honestly, I think many women over 50 finally understand that scripture differently. I know I do. Let me read it again. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Because if you think about it, guarding your heart is not just about romance, it's about peace, it's about your energy, your mind, your emotional environment, what you tolerate, what you consume, what you keep giving access to. And after a certain age, women begin realizing protecting your peace, it's not selfish. It's actually wisdom. You see, we are no longer buying into doing things just because that's what women do. And can I say something? I think women are quietly rewriting the rules of womanhood. Seriously. Because for generations, there was this invisible checklist: be agreeable, get married, stay married no matter what, take care of everybody, never rest, and always look presentable. Don't age, don't complain, don't take up space. And now women are questioning everything. And it's not coming from a place of rebellion, it's from awareness. Women are asking, do I actually want this? Does this lifestyle even align with me? Am I living intentionally or automatically? And honestly, these are healthy questions, telling you, because many women spend years living according to expectations they never personally chose. You know, this is why I see, and I've even been in this position. I've been married, I've been divorced, and been married and been divorced. And I've always tried to live up to somebody else's expectations. And when you do that, you don't find peace. You keep pleasing and pleasing and pleasing. And at one point you're so burned out that you fall out of love. You just you need to come back and find yourself. And women now are just, you see a lot of divorces of people being married for 30 years, and then when they have the empty nest, it's like when they really say, wait a minute, I've wasted, no, I wouldn't say wasted, let me rephrase that. I've been doing this stuff for so many years for everybody else. And then you find yourself, it's like, what am I going to do for myself now? Where am I at with myself? This is the time where we're in our new era where we should be able to reinvent ourselves because now we know what we want. You know, some of us want quiet lives and some of us want to travel. Some of us want to, go into entrepreneurship. I'm going in a whole different direction, y'all. I'm telling you. I got stuff going on in my life, but at this point in my life, I have more days behind me than I do ahead of me. And I am going to try and make the best of it. And I want to do what I wasn't able to do because I was taking care of everybody else. And some of us, we just want healing, some want companionship, some just want solitude, and some want peace more than status. And you know what? All of what I just mentioned is totally valid. You see, We are no longer buying into constant accessibility. I'm going to word it like that. Now, this one right here, this is healing me personally. Because why did society convince women that they must always be available, always answering texts, always reachable, always emotionally available, always accommodating? Meanwhile, sometimes you just want silence. You just want to drink your tea or your coffee in peace. You want to fold your laundry without solving everybody else's crisis. And you just want to enjoy your evening without three people trauma dumping on you. I know you feel me. And honestly, I think women over 50 become very intentional about access. Who gets their time? Who gets their energy? Who gets their emotional labor? And that's all healthy. Not everybody deserves unlimited access to you, especially if they're constantly leaving you emotionally drained. That's where we need to draw the line because we need to keep ourselves and ours together. We need to keep our peace and keep our energy and keep our alignment right. You see, because we're no longer buying into the idea that peace is boring. This might be my favorite part of the list because somewhere along the way, society made chaos look exciting. Toxic relationships, drama, constant emotional highs and lows, overstimulation, always being outside, always being busy, always consuming, always reacting. I'm telling you. And honestly, a lot of women are realizing that peace is actually luxurious. Yes, I'm going to now use the word luxurious. And I'm going to go on with that word. A calm nervous system, that's luxurious. A quiet morning, that's luxurious. Healthy relationships are luxurious. Good sleep is luxurious. Stability is luxurious. This is our own spa, and we're doing it the way we want to do it with intention. And I think that after 50, many women stop chasing adrenaline disguised as happiness. I'm only saying that because I've learned that within myself in therapy. They start craving consistency, safety, alignment, softness, meaning, and honestly, to me, that sounds like freedom. Now, you want to know what's funny? There was a time in my life when I thought that being constantly busy meant like I was successful. If my calendar wasn't full, I felt guilty. If I stayed home too much, I thought I was missing out. If I disappointed people by saying no, I felt bad. And now, baby, if I get to stay home, light a candle, make tea, wear comfortable clothes, and protect my peace, that to me feels luxurious. And honestly, I think many women experience that shift. You stop trying to impress people, you stop performing happiness, you stop forcing things, and life becomes simpler. Not smaller, simpler, more intentional, more meaningful, and of course, more aligned. And I think that's the real glow up nobody talks about. So listen, y'all. If I could describe this season women are entering, I would describe it as intentional liberation, not rebellion, liberation. Women are releasing what no longer feels aligned, not angrily, not dramatically, just honestly. We are no longer buying into exhaustion, no longer buying into performative living, and no longer buying into fake peace, and no longer buying into relationships that drain us, no longer buying into proving our worth through sacrifice. And we're no longer buying into shrinking ourselves to make others feel comfortable. And if I can continue to be honest, I think that's beautiful because women deserve lives that actually feel good internally, not just lives that look acceptable externally. And maybe, maybe that's what wisdom really is, learning what deserves your energy and learning what disrupts your peace and learning what aligns with your spirit and having the courage to choose differently, even if everybody else keeps doing the same thing. And I will say this, and I always do, remember, this is your journey and this is your time. Thank you for sitting with me today and for listening. This conversation felt like sitting in the living room, having a couple drinks or drinking some tea. And honestly, I think more women need spaces like that. No pressure, no performance, no pretending, just truth, just growth, just becoming. I want to thank you all for listening to the Simply Lili podcast. And remember, follow me on all platforms. Leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. And I'll talk to you all in the next episode.